So if you are not familiar with virtual reality, you are wasting your life.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Welcome to Unapologetic Filmmaking and Dope-ish. I am one of your hosts, Omari Matlock, along with
Alexander McCoy-Smith.
Join us every week as we explore independent filmmaking, creativity, and just all around dope-ish. Monday through Thursday, the show will be broken down topic by topic, and on Friday, you'll get the show in its entirety.
Yes, don't forget, everybody, to like, subscribe, and be a part of our film crew.
Got to be part of the film crew.
All right.
All right. So what we doing today?
Well, first on the docket, we're going to go ahead and talk about the film process.
Yeah. Super important. Super important. Okay. So, as filmmakers, we are super familiar with the whole process. And there are like three major parts to it. Now, in the indie world, or even in the professional world or semi-professional, whatever you want to call it,
mainstream.
Mainstream. There are three processes. Now, in indie, you kind of work it the best way you can work it, but you still have to respect those three processes. And those processes are pre-production, production, and post-production. So what we're going to do is kind of go over just a little bit of each process and why it's important, how each one impacts the other one. So we'll start off with pre-production, which for me, I would say pre-production is arguably the most important. Yeah. I mean, I feel like without pre-production being proper and spending the time and everything that you need to make it happen, production and post-production is just, it's not gonna happen. It's gonna happen, but it's not gonna happen good.
Well, yeah, because the first thing, the pre-part is the planning.
Right.
So you can't do anything without a plan. So yes,
sure.
To me, it has to be number one. It's the talks.
Right.
It's the talks that even to get the ball rolling.
Or for sure. I think the thing sometimes is people want to speed by pre-production, and I think that's a huge no-no. Like pre-production is where the script happens, so you even know what you're shooting. All of the planning, all of the the
brainstorming.
Did everything, trying to figure out how it's even going to happen. Location scouting, just the whole nine, what camera you're going to use, so on and so forth, budgets. So in my opinion, pre-production is it's like vital. You know what I'm saying? It's like vital. So without going super in depth in that, I would say make sure you spend time actually planning, like properly planning, assessing how much money you got, assessing your crew members, assessing what you can actually do. And I'm not saying like set your bar low because you don't have a lot of money. I'm just saying like actually do some time really planning and figuring out. Like for us, when we did pretty much every film that we've done, we've had like no budget.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's been like a challenge for us to actually make it happen. But just our most recent was Tales from the Blood Fairies. And we didn't have any money. We didn't have any money, but we shot on a $40 million plane, right?
Oh yeah.
Like we shot on a $40 million plane. We shot around over 200.
Oh yeah, real quick, shout out to David Grooms for that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, Dave hooked that up.
That's right.
It was funny though. We were on a airplane hunt. We were looking for this plane. It's go back a little bit when we talk about planning. I think we've done other projects in the past, and we always had a plan. We always knew what we wanted to accomplish, and it's always been like crazy. But we wrote down a list. We said, let's come up with the most ridiculous things that most indie people probably just wouldn't even attempt to because it's so crazy.
Right.
So our whole production was based off of a crazy ass list. Like we wanted to do a super crazy gun shootout. We wanted to shoot on a plane, a jet, not no little,
right.
Not a crop duster. You know what I'm saying?
We a little two-seater.
Yeah.
No two-seater.
We wanted to shoot on the jet. And the list was just insane. It was ridiculous. So when we started looking for that jet, Dave had scouted out a couple of jets, and he did get the two-seater at first. He was like, we're trying to figure out some trickery. I was like, man, listen, dude, my car is bigger than this, so it's not gonna work. But we scouted out that one, and then there was another that was a 17, I think it was a 17 passenger, and that one was cool. We was going, that one almost was the one, but I'm glad that one didn't work out because then we ended up finding the big boy, and I don't even remember how many that seated, but that was an amazing plane.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah.
So that was super dope. Yeah, like Alex said, Dave, we really came through on that. So yeah, and even like the warehouse that we shot in, there were like The warehouse was like, what, 3 or 4 levels?
Oh yeah,
that joint was crazy. He had like over $250,000 worth of antique cars in there, and it was sick, you know. So even though we didn't have a lot of money, we actually came to these individuals who own these things and just talked to them, you know, like, hey, look, this is what we're trying to do. We made sure we had all our ducks together, you know what I'm saying? We weren't on no just last minute, you know, just crap, you know what I'm saying? And they, I guess they respect that, you know what I'm saying? They looked out for us. So that was kind of major, but you know, just kind of pre-planning and knowing what you're going for, not settling. You know, it can be the difference between your production actually looking like something, rather you actually spent a lot of money on it or not, or it actually just looking like crap. So
yeah,
that's pre.
Yeah. So again, shout out Dave.
For sure. And then so we move on to production. So basically production is where you put into play everything that you decided to do in pre. You know what I'm saying? So production is when the crew is out, when the cast is out, when basically when they say shit hit the fan, when shit hit the fan. Like you either know that something's gonna happen or you quickly know that it's not gonna happen. So production is, you know, basically shooting and more shooting and shooting.
And shooting. Late nights and shooting.
Yeah, some shooting. So you know, we'll go into that a little bit more later, but that's pretty much it. It's just shooting.
Yeah.
More
and
shooting.
late nights and not sleeping. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Early crew and cast calls, you know, all that kind of good stuff. So then moving to post-production. Now, post-production is actually where you find out if you have a film or not.
Correct.
I mean, because at the end of the day, all the pre-planning and the actual production part is super awesome, but you don't know until you get into your editing bay and you realize, hey, we actually have something, or we don't have nothing, or we need to go do some reshoots or some pickups or whatever, you know.
God, I hate reshoots.
Hey man, they happen.
Like, that's true, but God, I hate them.
Yeah. Well, luckily we haven't. Have we had any? No, we haven't had any real reshoots. We've had pickups, a lot of pickups, but we've never had a reshoot. Thank God. Yes, but we almost had to do a couple reshoots because, okay, we are a visionary. We are very visual creators, and let's go back to production real quick. For visual people like ourselves, we don't pay attention to sound as much as we should.
That is correct.
So listen.
That's a sin too in film.
Oh my God.
It's a sin in film. Man. It's a sin.
See, sound is arguably more important than the actual picture. Like, I think they said it's like 60% of the experience. So indie filmmakers, please find somebody who knows what they're doing with audio, like who really knows what they're doing, okay? Because that can make or break your production.
Yeah,
seriously.
see, people will forgive visuals, but they won't forgive sound.
They won't. And then being visual people, that's kind of hard to even accept, but it's the truth. So when you have saviors that come along, like we had people who, like Alex Steely down in, well, he was in Florida at the time, but now he's in Virginia. He saved our ass a few times on some things, just trying to clean up audio, you know, and I know he's probably cussing us out the whole time, but just trying to clean up audio and make sure that, you know, it sounds audible. And then with this production, I would say John with the score, like, man, just amazing, you know. So just making sure that your sound is where it should be, you know. But going back to post, like I said, that's when you figure out if you have a movie or not, you know. And then that's when a lot of your players, like, ideally you would want to get the visual effects guys in early, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, you do. Especially like, well, also like, yeah, you want to get them early because depending on how visual the film is, it's like, hey, you know, you can't put the camera here, you can't do this, and whatever that may be, measurements and all that type of jazz. So yeah, you have to get them early.
Right.
If you don't, and you be like, hey, you shoot everything, and it's like, hey, I want to go ahead and put a car here, be like, listen. Reshoot. There's not enough this or not enough that, or, you know, like you can only do so much. Even in sound, even in visual, is only so much you can do. You know, especially if it's been shot beforehand, not talking to, you know, a professional person. Right.
I mean, and that's where Alex comes in for us because he knows visual effects and he's usually the supervisor on whatever it is. So, you know, I'm just the guy that's like, you know what? Hey, I want some dope shit over here. And I'm like, Alex, how do we need to make that happen? You know? Yeah. So, I mean, we've been kind of lucky in that sense because he, you know, pretty much knows what needs to be done, even if he's not physically doing the visual effect, which rarely happens, but if he's not physically doing the visual effects, he at least knows what needs to happen if we're going to put some sort of visual effect in there, or whatever. So, and you know, I've been brushing up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of alright with it, but yeah. So that's always good to know. So. Basically the post-production is where it all kind of wraps up. You know what I'm saying? Either you figure out if you got something dope or whatever. But those are kind of like the 3 steps, the processes that you definitely want to make sure that you spend time in and make sure that you get it right. But you know, being independent or whatever else, you can mix and match within those parameters. You know, don't feel like there's here step 1 or step 2, step 3. Whatever it needs to be, let it be that. But just know that pre-production is pre-production for a reason. Production is production for a reason. Post-production is post-production for a reason. So that's it.
Yeah, and like I said, you can't skimp on any of them.
No, you can't.
Because it will show. And I mean, it could be the reason why your production doesn't actually get finished, and it just doesn't work out. Literally, you know. So yeah.
And I mean, speaking of like being finished, I think like time is huge, like in production. It's like being aware of your time. I think like if you spend more time in pre-production, then you will be able to get through production faster. And the thing is, when you don't get through production faster, it costs you more money. You know?
I would say, because we didn't touch on that. We didn't touch on like, you know, like, getting the actors, getting involved with SAG and things like that. And I'm like, guess what? Like, they work for so long, and then guess what? It is like, hey, time and a half, stuff like that. Oh, yeah. And then next you know, your budget just goes up, it keeps going. And it's like, and it won't be sustainable.
Right.
That's just it. Like, it won't be.
Right. So the better you plan it, you know, the more likely you are going to be getting done on time or close to time or whatever. But yeah, that time is major.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it really is.